Well, good thing about Lomachenko, you know these boxers, sometimes you don't need to push it to the next level. You can be good, just like Anthony Joshua.
Yes.
Anthony Joshua, he doesn't do anything outside of the textbook. Anthony Joshua, he doesn't do anything extraordinary. Guys like Anthony Joshua, he doesn't do anything outside the boxing. Whatever it is boxing, 100% display of boxing is within Anthony Joshua. The way he fights, the way he moves, is just the boxing thing. He digs in. It's all pure boxing. There's no anything outside stuff. And there's no add-up. That's the good thing about Anthony Joshua, how he fights. Now, for example, if you're not gifted like Anthony Joshua, this is when you pull out a sly one, actually. So these other big-time boxers, what do I mean by pull out a sly one? They shift themselves to a level, distance, and more further out, more higher than like to take on guys like who they cannot take if they just remain within the boxing textbook. So this is where they do their back flips and their front flips. They do their flips and all that, just to show we are more flexible. And do you understand what I mean? So if a person is just like, suddenly he just like, he moves up, moves down, he's doing stuff that is not within boxing, then that is like an upper hand that he's getting to make him more better boxer. That boxer is not aware of this guy is a gymnast. Now a gymnast, his body is 50 times more beyond a body of just a boxer who's just doing this. Because he's gone past, he's doing stuff like acrobatic stuff that moves him 50 times more in a level. If he gets all this into meditation, he gets all this in his brain, then he can move just the way I showed you. A normal boxer would move like this. But this guy is moving like this. Because of his acrobats and the gymnasts he's got behind. Do you understand? That's the reality why you get these Lomachenko and these guys. Because Lomachenko, if you look at his background, he was a dancer. He's a professional dancer. And for you to be a professional dancer, you need to know your steps and moves. Like flexible moves, all sorts of things. So that is a dancer guy, and he was there for 3 years. So he completed his dancing stuff. Then he was a gymnast for another good 5 odd years. So he was a gymnast for 5 years. Before that he was a dancer for 3 years. So 8 years in his life. Then he went into boxing. Now he's also a boxer. So you know the stuff he got behind him, to turn him into a boxer, he can be as hell as anything. He can move himself to such a degree and such a height that ordinary boxer won't have any talent with it. If they want to be good, they need to first thing first is they want to find his face. Because if his face is always doing this, they cannot even get to his face because his face is not there. Every time he goes there, his face is already doing this. Like sometimes you see Prince Muhammad doing, or anyone. Because these guys gymnastics, they can do an acrobat flip, and his balls may be somewhere in front of his eyes, and he's punching his balls rather than his eyeballs. So these guys are gymnasts. They can move so fast. They can move at a distance. They can close quarter distance. They can move out from close distance very fast, very quickly, before this guy even does his second move or third move. So he's already doing good 17 different moves, and my man is still in his first move or the one of his half of his moves. Like he just moved it here to launch a jab. So he's just doing this. He just moved his head like that and the shoulders, snap the shoulders. Just want to take out his jab, and he's just doing this. And my man already done good 17, 18 different moves. So that's what you call, they get the upper hand with boxing. And this is exactly the reality of Lomachenko. I've seen another guy like Lomachenko, he's in his childhood and his young age. And he's also working on it. So he's only about 11, 12 years old, like he's a kid. But that kid, he can be as good as Lomachenko, he can be better than Lomachenko if he works on it. His career is to be a boxer. So if his career to be a boxer or mixed martial artist, like MMA fighter, Ultimate Fighting Championship, like UFC fighter, or Octagon fighter, or ring fighter, you know, he's one of these fighters. His plan is to be one of those like Anderson Silva and these guys. You know, if you want to be as good as that, and if he continues on how he's going, in his tread way, in his tread path, he goes on it, then he's got a good chance of being one of the best boxer available, one of the best boxer ever was created, one of the best boxer ever existed. This child got a big future like that. Why? Because the amount of acrobats he can do at the age of 12 is like Lomachenko would do it in his age of 15, 16. So he's already 3-4 years ahead of Lomachenko. So if he gets into one of these boxing and stuff, he's going to be always ahead in his game. And in these games like boxing, whatever, you want to be few steps ahead, like at least 10 steps ahead of your opponent, 3 steps ahead of your opponent. Have you seen these fighters, how they win games? Of course, if you're like Mike Tyson, then you don't need to do much. Because Mike Tyson, he's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson guy, he's like God. Mike Tyson like God. Mike Tyson like God, what do I mean by that? Mike Tyson, if he's just in front of you, like he rolls, the guy's going to be frozen. The guy's going to be so scared, his hands will be paralyzed like this. He won't be able to move. If Mike Tyson just does this, if he just does that, that's Mike Tyson, that's a godliness, that's different. But other than Mike Tyson, you know, those normal fighters, like Floyd Mayweather and these guys, they study their opponent for months. Good 9 different months to get a brief connection, with their opponent. And this is how they take down their opponent. Like, look at these guys. Okay, this guy, he's normal, his left hook is his thingy. So you have to get away from his left hook. So he'll work on his left hook by saying, he'll do this. He's gonna get away from his left hook and his angle, and he's gonna punch him on his liver. So that's the work he's gonna always do, punch him on his liver. So he's just gonna practice that over and over 500 million times. So he'll get away, punch on his liver. He'll duck and get away and punch on his liver. So he'll over and over work on the same move until when the time comes. So he's already practiced, because his habit is to do that. And he's just there waiting for him to do that. His automatic reaction, body reaction will go like that, and he'll punch him on his liver, send him flying out of the canvas. This is how they do it. Yeah.
Mike Tyson?
Yes.
Yeah? You know why it's Mike Tyson? You don't understand.
Mike Tyson is good.
Mike Tyson is an average guy. Yeah? His height is not the height of heavyweight.
He fought all the odds, man.
Yeah? Now, for him to fight at heavyweight, taller, bigger than him, he needs to bring a new style.
New style, yeah.
Never been seen.
Yeah.
He's still boxing heavyweight champion.
Exactly.
So that's why you see, he goes under. Mike Tyson, in his days, even till now, he got the best left hook.
Yeah.
And he got sharp reflex. His eye is very sharp. When Mike Tyson want to kill, he go like this under, then he come.
Yeah. Sure.
Left hook is deadly.
He's there to say, sure. Exactly. Because...
and he got this head movement.
Yeah.
Like he got this head movement.
You know, how many fights? Mike Tyson fought 44 different fights. All of his 44 fights, or 46 fights, you go in to see his 44 fights, you're going to see all of his opponents are taller than him.
Yeah.
None of his opponents in every single one of these fights are shorter than him, so they all have better advantage over him.
Yeah.
In terms of distance, reach advantage, height advantage, as well as it gives you a leverage advantage. Do you know leverage? Leverage is the worst thing ever in a fight. Leverage is someone who's looking like that above you, and you are someone like tiny looking like an ant below him. That is the worst advantage ever. That is the hardest advantage to take down a tall, long, lanky opponent because of that leverage. Because they just see, they just grab him like that, throw him out. That's a leverage advantage. So fighting against this odds, it takes Mike Tyson to a next level. Mike Tyson is not an ordinary, because that's what I said. Mike Tyson, he built so many different charismas inside him.
Yeah. For me, if I want to choose my favorite boxer all time,
You choose who?
I will go, let me go from the 60s. Let me start from Saakashvili, known as Ali, yeah?
Yes.
He did everything wrong in the ring. When I mean wrong in the ring,
Like he does outside the section.
yeah?
Yeah. It's nothing to do with boxing,
Yeah.
right? He's to lean head like this. He's to keep his hand low.
Put his
So
hand
all
very
these,
low.
all these
No
shoveling,
no form of defense.
the Ali shuffle, yeah?
No form of defense.
Yeah.
And he's got the face of a model.
Yeah.
But he, like a crocodile, he will drag you from the shallow water to the deep water. He will drown his opponent in the water. This guy is deadly.
Who?
He's very deadly.
Ali. Yeah, of
deadly.
course.
Very deadly.
Because he didn't fight with Joe.
Because
He fought with someone like George Foreman.
When you try
Joe
to get
Frazier.
him, when you try to get him,
Chris Eubank.
His form of defense is to move his head like this, like that.
Yeah.
No good defense, but I wonder how he managed to win most of those fights.
Who?
Ali.
Ali's got that's a good. Ali was good in leverage. You know what I mean leverage? He was tall guy, isn't it? 6'2". 6'3" is a very tall guy for a boxer. You are the best. You are gifted with everything. To be a nice, perfect boxer, you want to be tall like 6'3". Because 6'3" guy, he has the leverage. He can always look down. You have to look down on your opponent. You cannot give the opponent that he's higher than me. If you have that in your mind, you will never win a fight. Because fighting is about, that's it. This guy, he's like a statue, right? I'll turn him into a statue in a stone, and I'll grab and batter him like that. So this is the kind of belief and a faith you have to deal inside you.
So Ali,
And Ali that's what you call leverage. That's what you call leverage. And Ali had this leverage whenever you used to see him, like the way he used to look at his opponent. He used to always look like this. Can you see this? Like his head would go, lean a bit back like that, and he would look like that. And that is a sign of a God. You know exactly how God looks. Because God is always want to be like that. Throwing his head above, he doesn't do this. That's the nature of a God. So Ali would do that. He would always do this, and he would like, and he said, who's bigger than me? So that's what you call what I mean by leverage. And that is a very devastating character in a fighter, and if a fighter has that. But to get to that level, you need to be equipped with things as well. How good are you? Are you good with your, is just on saying, or are you really, you can be good when it comes to show yourself. If you can show yourself as well, then it really goes perfect. Both go hand in hand. Very good, very good, perfect. Yeah.
George Foreman.
Like, for example, George Foreman. With all the respect to George Foreman wasn't a bad fighter. George Foreman is regarded as the best fighter ever available in the history of boxing. This is the kind of fighter George Foreman is. He's got a very clean record, crystal clean record. He's got a record of a champion all of his life. Every time people respected him, and he's got a record of a champion. Now, George Foreman, he's undefeated. He's undefeated. George Foreman is undefeated all the way. And the guy is massive. George Foreman, he's big. With his broad shoulders, broad chest, broad shoulders, massive arms. His forearms, they would say, is equal to Ali and Joe Frazier together. This is how big his forearm was. And to be honest, George Foreman, with his forearm, if he would give one blow like that, boom, they would say he would drop down Joe Frazier and Ali together. This is how they would say it. Like this is how big George Foreman was in his prime, and he was like that because everyone knows it. The world knows it all over. So he was big, massive, muscular guy, and of course he had his. He would, because he was too big. Sometimes these big fighters, because they are too big, they cannot continue doing this because you need a lift from your forearm. So George Foreman would just throw in, do this like a bear. But even these were so effective that it was more effective than people doing like with long proper jabs, proper throws, proper.
There's another guy that fought George Foreman in the ring. He knocked Foreman 2 times, 3 times. Oh, one guy, black guy, Leo something. That guy is tall, strong, like Foreman, big. You know, that guy gave Foreman a hell of a fight. That guy knocked Foreman down twice.
Ooh. Yeah. I probably saw him, but
then he fought with Ali. You almost killed Ali in the ring.
You almost killed Ali in the ring.
Yeah.
The same guy.
Yeah.
Wow. That means this guy will be very good.
This guy is good.
This guy is good. He's got these fighters. These are like Chris Eubank. You know Chris Eubank?
Yeah.
Chris Eubank, not the junior. Chris Eubank, the senior. I'm talking about his father, his dad. Chris Eubank. Some of these natural boxers and fighters, they have this natural extra talent or extra gift, extra godly gift or extra fighting instinct. They can fight and they can react in a way. They just like, as I said, Chris Eubank is one of those. Like, he can give hell. He can turn a hell out of somebody who's like one of the best regarded ever boxer or some of the big guy, one of the big guy. He's a big champion. But he can turn. If he comes in front of Chris Eubank, he's going to turn his days into hell, basically. The guys like, because these boxers, they are different kind of boxers. I believe Joe Frazier had bit of that as well. And Norton is one of that as well. Norton, do you know Norton? Norton, he was in military service for 30 years. So he's a military guy. His body can take any blow. You know what a military guy is? Military guy is someone who can take this kind of the blow with this in his head like that. He's going to be like this. Who's that? You grab him and he's smacking. That's a military guy. So Norton is exactly that. And this is why Norton, he fought because he had injuries from his military service. He was in the military service for 25, 30 years. So because of 25, 30 years, he had a broken, he said due to his military time, he had a broken ribcage, like broken bone from side. But still, he boxed after that for 25 years. That's the kind of guy he is. So 20 years on top of his military service, he fought. And he won. He gave good shot with Ali. He gave good shot with all the good fighters. Like George Foreman, Joe Frazier, all of these big guys. He fought them all. He fought all the best guys of his time. All the head champion leagues. And he gave them really hard time. Every single one. They all said like, Norton, the way he proves himself is a military guy. He is in the ring as a military guy. We pumped the hell out of him. Like Mike Tyson taking all the snaps, like Mike Tyson, 50 different slaps. That guy, he says, that guy, we cannot even move him. He's like a hammering pillar right in front of us. That was Norton. Believe me. And he said his heart and with his body is so ferocious that we would do anything to get the guy on the floor, Norton. But Norton just go on for all the rounds, the first, the second, the third. Then we thought we were going to take him on the 7th round. My man goes on for 14th round and 15th round. That's Norton. Because Norton, he's a completely different kind of self. He's like a guy, you go and hit a god. You throw punches on a god and you want God's face to be cracked open, but you rather you crack your own hand. You just try, what's that, man? He was one of those guys. Norton was one of those guys. He would take blows and blows after blows on himself. And the guy is still standing on his 2 legs. And he's still going and going on. That was Norton. And exactly, Joe Frazier, he had a solid chin as well. Joe Frazier, we don't call Joe Frazier, he had a solid chin because the way he used to fight, he would always do this. He was tall himself, but he would be extra protective. 6'1.5" or 6'2" himself, Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier was tall. But being tall and as well as being very evasive and persuasive and cohesive, like a protective fighter, he would always protect his chin and he would always do this to abridge his opponent. So you could see that's the way Joe Frazier would move in. And he's always grounded as well. I'm showing you, but he wouldn't ever do like that. He would always be like this, see? Like that, and he would throw like this. Full grounded. Whenever he throws his punches, the punch power is coming all the way from ground to legs and penetrating, channeling, all the way from ground zero to his toes, to his ankles, to his legs, shin, thighs, going up to his waist and exiting out from the shoulders and snapping it to his side and forearms and to his wrist and taking it out from his and boom, he's doing it like that. Yeah. As I said, you know, like for example, all the fighters are good, but there's going to be always one who's going to be just extraordinary. Yeah, this is how it is. Even with like, for example, Muhammad Ali, you know, Cassius Clay, even he even talked. Said I fought many different. His career will go to 56 fights. So 57 fights I've fought in my rings and all the big guys. But there was always one or two that gave me the time, yeah.
That guy,
but usually these fighters, they don't think like that. In their prime, they don't. That only comes in their retire time. You know, when they move past their prime, their youth, and they knock down at least 35 different opponents, 36 different opponents. Now they're moving to the last 15 different opponents they're going to fight for. Last 15 opponents. This is when they get that thing, like slight thing, I'm going to be old. Not only that, it's just that there's going to be always down the line someone's going to be a little bit more having leverage over him or advantage over him, and it's going to knock him on the floor. They have this thinking because it just comes like, you know, like what do you call it? It's Laura, Mike Tyson fought again. You know, he knocked down Muhammad Ali. He gave a hard time to Muhammad Ali. What was his name? Laura, was it? Laura. But you know, the way Mike Tyson took revenge on Muhammad Ali, he said Mike Tyson calling me my pop. He said Ali is my pop. He said Ali is my father. He knocked my father silly. I'm going to take revenge on the guy. And he did give him a hard time because some of these boxers, they took a lot of punches on the bladder. You know, bladder, kidney, liver. They end up pissing blood. They cannot piss. The piss would turn to blood, right? Because of course, they're strong enough to take it, but when it goes too heavy punches, like him, the way he was punching, you know, he was like probably made Ali piss blood, you know, people from his bladder, from his thinking. The next time he went to pee in the box, in the toilet, he would pee. What? Blood stains and blood. Because they take punches on the livers, on the kidneys and livers, and you know, they end up giving big strokes. Ali was one of them. And because he was this, so he said, Laura Holmes, Holmes. So he said, I'm going to teach Holmes a lesson. Laura Holmes a lesson. And but of course, with all the respect to Laura Holmes, because Laura Holmes had his time as well, because he was big. But Laura Holmes is big. He's a very respectable man. He's very respected because he's kind of gentleman. Laura Holmes doesn't have in his lifetime a record of abusing anyone or telling things like it would hurt someone's feelings. But you know, Ali, Cassius Clay, he used to talk to us. You know, he would say things that he would get into people's feelings. People would feel bad about him. And he said, this guy, he said stuff like, really, you know, he would always, that was his habit. But, you know, Laura Holmes, he wasn't one of those. He doesn't have a record. He's a gentleman, to be honest. He's a pure gentleman. He's a gentle self. He doesn't have any record of telling anyone bad or pushing anyone or, you know, talking to someone in a way that he would get a bad thing. That was Laura Holmes as well. So mom and
Very difficult, number 5. Yeah. Oh, where the fight goes back, the white one.
so so I do respect Lara Holmes, but again, Mike Tyson was angry Mike Tyson in his time, in his prime.
At that time,
And he got with Mike Tyson at the wrong time, basically.
at that time, Larry Holmes already passed his prime.
Already past his prime as well, yeah. And Mike Tyson was an eating monster, He's gonna eat up anything in front of him.
That time,
So because he was a hungry monster,
at his prime.
at his prime, yeah, at his prime. So basically, Mike Tyson went there and took a pie out of him, Thai pie, made a Thai pie out of him, and an Egyptian biscuit out of him, and an African coconut out of him. Seriously, African coconut out of him. Now I'm telling you, Lara, but at the end, because Mike Tyson was kind of overdone. Because the guy you can see is a technical knockout. The last few moments of the fight, you can see Lara Holmes is already technically gone. Because he was an old man. He's about good 25, 28 years older than Mike Tyson. So he's already gone, But Mike Tyson still goes at him to throw his last few crosses, And it drops him, last few 7 crosses. The guy. And then, boss. I see you, next time,